It is Sunday, Minties, and that means it's time for another retro view here on Near Mint Condition. And today, we're going to be going over the Starman Omnibus, all 6 volumes, and what it contains, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the story and make sure I don't spoil anything. So, please stay tuned. Okay, now, this video has been damn near a long time coming. If you've been watching my channel for a while, or just have heard me talk, you know how important the story of Starman is to me. So I gotta be really careful when I showcase these books. The other thing I was gonna say is these books are out of print, but I'm hoping that DC resolicits that Cosmic Omnibus that they announced late last year. I'm hoping they do the right thing and bring it back into print as I talk about these books and the importance of them. And one of the things I want to do before I get started is, even though the title says Starman Omnibus, I'm going to show you the actual size of these. So here is one of those books compared to the size of a trade paperback. And if you've watched my channel for a long time now, you know that this is just a standard hardcover, meaning that this is the same size as the trade paperback as far as the height of the book and the size of the pages in here. So it is as tall as one of those standard size hardcovers from DC and from Marvel. So the page sizes are the same as a trade paperback. So here it is compared to an actual DC Omnibus. You can tell the DC Omnibus is taller and a little bit longer, so the page sizes are bigger. Now let's look at volume 1. So because of the standard size of these books, that's why I want DC to actually give us a proper omnibus. And yes, this is Starman, and I'm going to flip through here. I'm going to talk a little bit about it. There is one spoiler I have to talk about, and that's at the very beginning. But everything else, I will make sure not to spoil for anybody, and just give you a brief synopsis of what the stories are like. Just showcasing some of this artwork, because I know for some people the artwork sometimes, is a big selling point or a point where they're like, yeah, that artwork is not for me. This is a 90s style of art, and of course this is Tony Harris, who went on to do about half of the series before somebody else came on board and took over the book. But this is the kind of artwork that you'll get from Starman. These Omnis have a thick, glossy paper quality to them, and each one of them come with this amazing forward by James Robinson. But the selling point to me is back here. Each one of these, have to make sure I censor this page because it's the ending to a storyline, is this wonderful afterword by James Robinson, who talks about where he was in his life as he's writing the story of Starman. And to me, this is the reason why I own these. And I hope when they reprint the books, either he gets to tell these stories again, or they actually reprint these pages here. Because the books were originally printed, I want to say back in 2007. No, 2008 was when the first one came out. And over the next couple of years is when all 6 eventually came out. So yes, this is Starman. Let's keep going with it. Here's volume 2, and each of these, by the way, has new artwork. The covers, the dust jackets are done by Tony Harris. The inside of the dust jacket is just pretty much the textless artwork. So let's flip a little through here. Volume 1 collects issues 0 through 16, and then this volume here collects issues 17 through 29, annual number 1, and then the stories from Showcase 1995, issues 12, and Showcase 96, again the year, 4 through 5. And this is just, again, some of the artwork. And then I'm going to talk about the story and the creators here when we start looking at volume 3. Okay, so this is something else I wanted to talk about before I go on to volume 3. Throughout the books, you get journal entries from the Shade. The Shade is one of these characters that has been part of the Starman mythos. He's either a villain or a good guy, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but he's one of my favorite characters in the DC universe. Here's all the merchandise, including a Shade action figure, and of course, Jack Knight statue. And then, one more time, the afterword by James Robinson. including all the regrets that he had in life and the mistakes and bridges that he burnt in his life. So here is Volume 3. By the way, the retail price of each of these when they were coming out is $49.99. As far as the page count, they are about 480 pages all the way up to like 540 pages, depending on the story. Here's some more beautiful artwork. This is J.H. Williams is the story art on this series right here. And this is the Shade miniseries, the 4-issue Shade miniseries collected in Volume 3, as well as Starman 30 through 38, the second annual, and then Secret Files number 1. So let's talk about Starman. So Starman is the brainchild of James Robinson. James Robinson, of course, he went on to do The Invaders. He went on to do Batman Face to Face. He had a run on Justice League, a very controversial run on Cry for Justice. I still don't blame him. I want to say that's more editorial. And then, of course, it's also the brainchild of Tony Harris. Tony Harris went on to do Ex Machina with Brian K. Vaughan, and several other projects for DC and at Marvel. And yes, James Robinson, he's been around. I mean, he's done both DC, Marvel. He did Fantastic Four as well. And he's in my top 25 favorite writers of all time, if you saw that video. But, oh, man, these stories. What are these stories about? Let's look at Volume 4. So here's Volume 4 and the contents. Oh, wait, this is really cool. Yeah. Hellboy. You're like, wait, what the hell is Hellboy doing in a DC book? Well, that's because this particular omnibus collects Starman 39 through 46, the 80-page giant Volume 1, the Power of Shazam crossover, that's issues 35 and 36, the Mist one-shot, and then Batman, Hellboy, Starman, that miniseries, issues 1 and 2. So all of that is collected in here. But who is Starman? Like, what makes it so good? How do I describe this wonderful series without giving anything away? Well, it is the story of father and son. So remember when I said I was going to give a little bit of a spoiler? In issue 1, issue 0 rather, we have the story of Ted Knight, the original Starman. And he's just old, so he wants to pass the baton on to one of his sons. Well, he passes the baton on, or the staff rather, to his older brother, David. So David becomes the new Starman. However, in one of David's missions, he is killed by the son of one of the original Starman's arch nemesis, the Mist. So Jack, the youngest son, who's a collector, maybe that's why I relate to him, decides to take up the mantle of Starman and become the new Starman. He refuses to wear a superhero costume, right? So because he's not about that life. So he just puts on like this leather jacket and goggles, and he has the staff. And that's it. That's pretty much his getup. And damn, does this story work. And it is so wonderful and moving. And so much happens here that I can't do it justice just in this one video. The importance of Starman to me and a lot of other people is beyond that. There are moments in here that I just cried my eyes out. And it could have been the time that I read this. It could have been that I needed a book and a story like this in my life. And in order to get... Sorry, I have to skip through a few pages because I don't want to spoil anything. But yes, it was a story that just happened to be there, and it was the story that I needed in that part of my life. So while I could say this is just a love letter to the Golden Age, it is so much more than that. There are moments in here that broke my heart. There are moments in here that gave me hope and so much joy that, it's a good book, it's a good story, it's a great comic, it's a great movie when things like that happen, and it's able to impact you in that way. And this is one of those wonderful, beautiful stories that hit me like that. Here we have Volume 5, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the story too, because I don't think I'm doing it justice by just saying how important it was to me. So this particular volume, first of all, collects issues 47 through 60 of Starman, and collects issues of Stars and Stripes number 0, All-Star Comics 80-page giant number 1, and the story from JSA All-Stars number 4. So speaking of JSA, Jack does end up following in his father's footsteps, not just as a hero, but also joining the Justice Society of America. So he is there for a while. And by now, you probably noticed, Tony Harris left as of Volume 4. And the main artist on Volume 5 is this gentleman who I'm sure I'm going to butcher his name, and I apologize for that. And that is Peter Sneschurg. Oh, man. I'm sorry. Everybody butchers my last name. I know that doesn't make anybody feel better, but... So, Starman, you know, it's a simple story. Like I said, it's about legacy. It's about a father passing his legacy on to his son, even though the son doesn't really want to deal with it. His son has his own life. And just look at this wonderful artwork in here. God, I love this series, and it requires a reread. And there's so many cool little twists here, too. But yes, so Jack stays mainly on Earth. There's horrible things that happen to him. They all live in Opal City. That's the city where he fights crime. He does end up dealing with some of his father's arch nemesis, including the Mist. There's this wonderful, wonderful freaking story. It's the story arc that takes place when he's dating this girl named Sadie, and she reveals to him her secret origin and who her sibling is, and he takes to the stars, and oh man, it ties back to the classic Starman era, the Starman by Dan Jurgens, and then Starman that came out in the 80s. It's a really cool and powerful story. Let's look at Volume 6. And here's Volume 6. This collects issues 61 through 81 of Starman. By the way, Starman actually ended in issue 80. Issue 81 is the Blackest Night tie-in. There's this wonderful introduction by Jeff Johns, who reveals, you know, his love of Starman and the character of Jack Knight. And yeah, I can't flip too much through here, but I just have to say, this wonderful, beautiful ending here. I can't think of very many ongoing comic books that, you know, reward your readers with just this definitive ending for this character that you started with issue 1. Now, other characters like that come to mind, like Sandman, right, by Neil Gaiman. But James Robinson made this pretty much character that is from the DC ongoing universe, not the Vertigo universe, or what is probably known now as the Black Label universe, but the ongoing universe, and made you care about him and his supporting cast. Like I said, the Shade is the freaking man. Like, I love that character. And the one thing that is missing from this collection is the Shade series that took place after this story. So it's like the 8 issues. I wish they had done an oversized hardcover of it. There was a trade paperback release of it. But there's so much... Here, actually... Sorry, again, skipping through pages because I don't want to spoil anything. Man, this book is really hard to flip through because there's so many pages that spoil things, and I don't want to do that. So there's so much payoff for those that have been reading the book, reading all the Shade journals, reading all the entries that are in there, all the little hidden signs that lead to this finale, and this satisfying finale. Oh man, just summarizing the story, even doing an old reader, new reader of one volume could not do the justice that this book deserves and what it means to me. This is the creative freedom that I wish characters like Batman and Superman could have from time to time from different writers, right? Sorry, I skipped through everything because I don't want to spoil anything from this volume. So, James Robinson was able to do what a lot of writers wish they could do with iconic characters. He was able to kind of make him his own little independent story, and all found in the pages of these 6 volumes. And I wish DC would just print that cosmic adventure that they had solicited last year, and then they canceled. I wish they would bring it back and resolicit it so future generations can read this wonderful story. And yes, I realize it's available digitally, and I shouldn't be bitching, but come on. You don't watch this channel because I sit here with my iPad and flip through digital files of books. You watch this channel so you can see what the books look like and what they feel like in your hand. And this is the Blackest Night tie-in, so issue 81. It is written by James Robinson. The cover's even supplied by Tony Harris. So that's really cool that the two came back together for this. So this takes place during the Blackest Night storyline. And the heartbreaking part of everything that I'm talking about right now is that my wife does not like Starman. She is not a fan. She's tried twice to read Starman and just couldn't do it. So I realize it is not for everybody. But, you know, in case you have them and you haven't read them yet, do yourself a favor and check them out. See if it's for you. Their first 3 were originally released in trade paperback format, and then that line was canceled. I don't know why. I realized that volume 4 and 5 are just near impossible to find, and they're expensive. But like I said, hopefully DC will do the right thing and give us a proper omnibus, 2 of these, including the Shade series that was not previously collected in these omnis. That's what I hope for. Hey, and don't forget to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off the cover price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on packaging your books so they arrive safely and in excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. And check out their bargain bin for even greater deals up to 90% off cover price. And for you Minties, Cheap Graphic Novels is running a special promotion. If you're a first-time customer, let them know you were referred by Near Mint Condition at the checkout, and you'll receive a credit for free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for U.S. customers. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discounts, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. Now, hopefully, these books will come back in an actual omnibus format. These are one of my prized possessions, and I would love for everyone to have the opportunity to read The Adventures of Jack Knight and why the story means so much to me and so many others out there, except my wife, apparently, who for some reason cannot get into Starman. But hey, that's another story. So, yes, please don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button, ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. We can be found on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and that is at NearMintCon. You can follow our social media there for updates. We can also be found on Redbubble and Patreon. All of that information is in the description down below, and thank you so much to our existing patrons. Again, this was the Uncanny Omar. Thank you all so much for watching. Remember, everybody, stay healthy, stay safe out there, and much love to all of you.